Hi, this is Mr. Cordes, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about the Odyssey Cover Art project. We have studied the Odyssey now. We have looked at Odysseus and his adventures with the Cyclopes. We've looked at kind of the bigger picture of where he's traveling and how he fits into the hero's journey. This activity for us, ladies and gentlemen, is just kind of to almost detox and download all of our information in a creative fashion. I love doing these types of activities because I get to see your perspective, your creativity. Essentially, we are going to be putting together a book cover. If you go into any bookstore, you will notice the covers are very distinct and purposeful for the story in which they tell. So having an image, having a picture that represents that story is kind of our purpose, is our objective for this. You have the information in front of you in the Google Classroom. All of the information is actually found in that attachment down here at the bottom for the cover art. So if you click on that, it's going to bring you over to the cover art information. Please remember that you are submitting this online. So if you do this on a regular piece of paper, you have the opportunity to take a picture and send that image to me, or upload it, or a link, or however you need to connect it. So we kind of need to be creative. Most of the stuff that we've done online has already just been online. Also, you have the opportunity to work and be creative online as well. So any of the paint or drawing platforms online you could use. I know a lot of people have technology that they use for drawing already. All of those are perfectly fine. The purpose of this assignment is to see your creativity and kind of put out there something that's interesting to you and your perspective of the story. How do you see the story? Okay. So images, I'm going to kind of just go through the assignment here and then allow you guys some time to work. Images can be powerful ways of communicating. People respond to images based on their personalities, their associations, their previous experiences. Graphic designers use these intrinsic responses to visually communicate ideas and information. They work with different tools and mediums to convey a message for the client to a particular audience. You're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but anytime I go into a bookstore or a library and I'm looking through, I will judge that book. Is the picture on the front captivating? Is it interesting? Am I drawn to it because of the image that's presented? There's lots of books that I own, but I will specifically only own the ones that have a really good cover, because they're fun, they're interesting. So that's always something to consider. For this assignment, students will create a book cover that reveals the author's intent and novel's content. Images must include a clear title and author's name. The cover design must reflect the book's themes and the author's background. So you can't necessarily just put a boat on the sea of water and draw a little stick figure that's Odysseus. We're looking for something that would convey the message, right? We're looking for something that would convey those themes that Homer was presenting. So things about the hero's journey, the ideas of peril and danger and despair from what him and his men are trapped in the cave, right? You're looking for things of what's the most important part and how do I communicate that to the audience? So, like I mentioned already, artwork can be done freehand or on the computer. It's kind of up to you. Plagiarized images are not going to be acceptable. The thing is, while Google searching is fine to get creativity and to get inspiration, you're not necessarily going to steal those images. You can create your own, absolutely fine, but to just cut and paste a picture and say, oh, this is it, I want you to do your own. So whether that is, like, let's say that there are men in the sheep's wool, like trying to escape. Maybe that's the image that you want to portray. Maybe it's the death of Polyphemus with the gigantic spear, the rod in his eye, right? Maybe it is Odysseus on his boat yelling back and being really arrogant and prideful. And, the Cyclops is throwing the rock up and over his head to bring his boat back. What are the components? What is it about the hero that you want to present for this? Okay. So please, please, please do your own work, be creative, get inspiration from other people and from other images, but you do want to do your own work. You're simply going to use an 8 by 11 piece of paper. You don't have to go out and get a big poster board, just a plain white piece of paper if you have that at home, or the plain white document that you have on your computer. It says artists need to think about the goal of the images. A book cover should not only give the viewer an idea of content and mood of the book, but also should be eye-catching and encouraging students browsing the library or customers in a bookstore, like I mentioned, to pick up the book and be familiar with it. So if I was going to look here, I just did a simple search, Odyssey by Homer cover art. I did Odyssey cover art originally, and it came up with a whole bunch of Odyssey video games, okay, which is not the same. Odyssey is just a generic word that's used for long journey or long episodic type trip. Here, I needed to type in my author, Homer, and make sure I didn't get anything from The Simpsons, but Odyssey by Homer cover art. So when I look here, I've got lots of inspiration, and all of this stuff kind of goes into the other parts of the story that we weren't familiar with. So like this one right here is a great one. It's kind of abstract. You see the idea of there being the monster, the Cyclops. You see Odysseus down here, right? And kind of where he is going to. You see other traditional ones. This has the embodiment of a Greco-Roman artwork and kind of just conveys, yeah, he's on a boat going home. But it has, same with this one right here, it has that same style. So if you remember back to like Disney's Hercules, they kind of have that Greek art feel to it, that style. So that's one of the things to consider as well. What is the style of your story? What is the style of your image? Okay. So as you continue here, you've got some other ones, very classic. This one is very simplistic yet powerful. It has the Trojan hat, helmet, and then it has a boat. So kind of the two components of him leaving the war and him going home. There's other things that you see here. We get down into more work and just somewhat generic. I like this one. This one is a good one. Kind of here is Odysseus and the things that embody. So we have the Cyclops, we have Penelope, we have the other parts of the story that we did not read. As you go through, you can kind of begin to match up what is it about the story that you want to tell. Okay. Now, here's the deal. I'm not grading you on artistic ability. I'm not grading you on like, oh my gosh, you're a fantastic artist. You're not getting a grade based on that. Here's what you're getting. Here's how the artwork is graded. 1, time and energy. Is it apparent that you spent quality time on this and put it together? I mean, is it stick figures and a couple shading colored pencils? Or did you actually like sketch out, draw, give detail, give shadow? Like, did you put forth effort? Okay. There's the idea of professionalism, simply writing the Odyssey and drawing a boat and then walking away. Not very professional, not very caring. It should be evident about some sort of theme. So I should be able to see some component of the themes that we talked about for the hero's journey, right? Is it going into the unknown world? Is it the idea of the abyss when they're almost about to die? Or is it the atonement and the return where we are finding a difference in character, okay? Author's background, we don't know that much about Homer. We didn't talk much about Homer. However, you can simply add in his name, okay, because that's part of it. But you don't necessarily need to add in the author's background. That's something that we did not do simply because we are online here. Having author and title name present. So that's another component, is to make sure that you have that information. You can't just draw a boat in an island and then call it a day. You need to have the Odyssey. You need to have Homer, as every book does, right? Down here below, these are just 3 examples that I have shown for my sophomores for Lord of the Flies. It's a novel that we read. These are 3 very, very different covers. They all contain the title and the author. They all contain some sort of key event in the story. So in the story, there's the struggle between boys, like this savage versus civil nature of fighting. There's also a scene in the story where half of the island catches on fire. So that's part of this as well. And then down here, this is a little bit more abstract, but it kind of encompasses Lord of the Flies. There's a part where, you know, a pig's head is cut off and mounted to give offering to a beast. It's a long story. You'll read it when you're a sophomore. But then you're also understanding that it's dressed in a very formal way. So it contrasts the themes of savage versus civil again. So your job as you go through and you identify cover art, you are noticing like the variations of what's going on, like how are things presented, what are the themes. Like this one right here is kind of what I had talked about before, where the giant is throwing the boulder up over the ship so it comes back to him. So there's lots of different components that you can use, lots of different styles. Be artistic, be creative. Work, you know, if you like going for black and white images, go for that. If you like doing anime and want to create an anime featurette, go for it. However you kind of want to piece these things together, you have free reign. If you, for whatever reason, feel like you're unsure and you're wondering if you're moving in the right direction, you can send me a draft of what you've done. Absolutely fine. The idea is that we are looking at how do we convey those themes, those messages, those ideas of a hero, of our story in an image, in a cover of a book. Okay. Please take some time, message me if you have any questions or concerns. Have fun with this. It should be fantastic and great. I'll talk to you guys later. Can't wait to see what you do.